Hi everyone! In this video, I'm going to teach you how to convert between Celsius and Fahrenheit. So these are both measures of temperature, and in the metric system, we almost always use Celsius, and in the American system, the imperial system, they almost always use degrees Fahrenheit. And the funny thing about being Canadian is we sort of need to use these two, in some cases, interchangeably. Like I know from when I'm cooking things that I preheat the oven to 350 or 425. Those are degrees Fahrenheit because that's what we use for cooking because of American cookbooks, American TV shows, and just the history of cooking in Canada. We just always use Fahrenheit. Like similarly, safe cook temperatures. I just use Fahrenheit for those sorts of things. But other things like the temperature outside, I know that in Celsius. And today it's a pretty nice day. It's 16 degrees out, right? That's 16 degrees Celsius. 16 degrees Fahrenheit would be very, very cold. As Canadians, we sort of need to be able to use these things interchangeably, and so that's what we're going to learn about today, is how to convert between Celsius and Fahrenheit. And so there's two different formulas depending on what you're trying to find. This formula has Celsius on its own, and this means that it's very easy to solve for Celsius using this formula. And what you're going to do is we're going to take degrees Fahrenheit, put it in for our F in this formula, do our 2 or 3 steps of calculations, and then we're going to end up with our degrees Celsius at the end. And vice versa, this formula here is solved for F, which means we are going to put in degrees C, do our 2 or 3 step calculation, and then it's going to give us degrees Fahrenheit. So let's go through and do an example. So first thing you need to do, sometimes maybe the step one you can skip, but in terms of actually writing it out. But it's really important that you carefully choose which formula you want. If I'm converting 42 degrees Fahrenheit into degrees Celsius, then I need the formula that is solved for C. And so the formula I want is C equals 5 over 9 F minus 32. Okay, and because I have degrees Fahrenheit, I want to be able to put it in on the right-hand side of our formula, and then the left-hand side of our formula is going to give us the degrees C that we want. So now my next step is I'm going to substitute the value that I know. So most of this formula is going to be the exact same, right? This 5/9, this minus 32, like all that stuff is the same. The only difference is our Fahrenheit we actually know is 42 degrees. So I'm going to put 42 degrees in there. Now, our next step, we actually need to follow order of operations. So usually we do that in terms of bed mass, right? So brackets and exponents aren't going to matter here. The exponents aren't going to matter here. There's no exponents in this question. But the brackets is what we're going to do very first. We have brackets in our expression right there, which means the first thing we need to do is we need to do our 42 minus 32 in our brackets before we get to our multiplication and our division in front with the 5/9. So brackets first is going to be C equals 5/9. And my number in the brackets now, 42 minus 32 is 10. Now for the next step, there's sort of two possibilities. 5/9 with a 10 in front literally means 5 divided by 9 times 10. Because a fraction is division. So this is what I normally do. I normally do my number and I would do 10 times my fraction. So my fraction is 5 divided by 9. Or you could do your fraction first. You could do 5 divided by 9 times 10, right? And any of those will give you the correct calculation. The other thing that you could do is you could actually do 5 divided by 9 in your calculator and you get 0.55555555555 for a while. And so you could just do, right? So like another option is you could do 10 times 0.55555 and just mash 5 for a while on your calculator until you get bored. And if you do that, well, it's just 10 times in this case. So if you do this calculation correctly, you should get 5.5 repeating, right? 5. So let's round that to 5.6 degrees Celsius. So what we found out is 42 degrees Fahrenheit is 5.6 degrees Celsius. Okay, let's try a couple more. So 32 degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius. So again, we are converting from Fahrenheit to Celsius. So I want Celsius on the left-hand side. So I'm going to use my C equals formula. I'm going to use this formula right here. Okay? So C equals 5/9 bracket. Now, my Fahrenheit in this case, I'm just going to put in my 32 degrees, right? We're doing this formula over and over. I've correctly chosen my formula for C. So now that I've correctly chosen my C formula, I'm just going to go right into my substitution. 32 minus 32. Wait, 32 minus 32. I don't need a calculator for that. 32 minus 32 is 0. So C is 5 divided by 9 times 0. Didn't give myself much space here. But what's anything times 0? Anything times 0 is 0 degrees Celsius. So 32 degrees Fahrenheit is freezing. 0 degrees Celsius. Okay, let's try 212. And I'll try to write a little bit smaller this time. So C equals, same formula, right? I'm doing C equals because I'm converting to C. So I've got 5/9 of my 212 degrees, because that's my Fahrenheit, minus 32. Oops, wrong color. Minus 32. Okay, now 212 minus 32, I'm going to do first because it's in the brackets. So 212 minus 32 is 180. And then whichever one I want to do, doesn't matter. I usually do this one. So in my calculator, I do 180. Right, so this is your calculator, right? Does that look like a calculator? So in my calculator, I'm going to do 180 times 5 divided by 9 equals, and I get C equals 100 degrees Celsius. So that's boiling. So for those of you who actually know Fahrenheit, if maybe you're American or something, you would actually know these numbers, because 32 degrees Fahrenheit is the freezing point of water and 212 degrees Fahrenheit is the boiling point of water, which is one of the reasons that Celsius is really nice, because I find it much easier to memorize 0 and 100, which is basically the definition of the Celsius system, right? That's actually why Celsius is what it is. They chose 0 degrees to be the freezing point, and they chose 100 degrees to be the boiling point of water, and then they just split it up into 100 degrees between 0 and 100. I think that's quite cool. Way more useful in my opinion than 212, but what do I know? I'm just a Canadian. Americans do it their own way. Okay, so let's go backwards. So this one here, we're converting from Celsius to Fahrenheit. And since we're converting Celsius to Fahrenheit, we want this formula that is solved for Fahrenheit. So Fahrenheit is 9 divided by 5C plus 32. So Fahrenheit is 9 divided by 5, not bracket, no bracket. 9 divided by 5 Celsius plus 32. And this one has no brackets, which is really important, because in this case, we're going to be doing different bed mass. In this case, we've got division, multiplication, and addition, subtraction, and no brackets. Right? So according to our order of operations, we are going to do our multiplication, division first. Then we are going to do our addition, subtraction. So in this question here, I'm going to do F equals 9 divided by 5. Normally when I do a substitution, I like to put it in brackets so I don't get confused. So I'm going to put my 48 degrees in brackets, but this just means multiplication, right? It's not like really brackets because there's nothing in here to do. There's nothing in the brackets to do, but I'll put it there as a placeholder for multiplication. And now 9 divided by 5 is 1.8. And so 9 divided by 5 times 48 gives us that F equals 86.4 plus 32. Plug that into a calculator. The plus 32 gives you 118.4 degrees Fahrenheit. And so 48 degrees Celsius is 118.4 Fahrenheit. Let's do one more. So again, we are converting Celsius to Fahrenheit. So since we're doing Celsius to Fahrenheit, we want the formula that is solved for Fahrenheit. And in this case, I'm just going to go right into my substitution step. Right, my C value I'm going to replace with my negative 20. And then I'm going to do plus 32 on the end. And 9 divided by 5 times negative 20 is negative 36. So F is negative 36 plus 32. And you put that into a calculator, and you get that it is negative 4 degrees Fahrenheit. So negative 20 degrees Celsius equals negative 4 degrees Fahrenheit. Cool. And now here's some practice for you guys. I'm just going to help you guys with the formulas for the first couple here. This one here, we're converting Fahrenheit to Celsius. So since we're converting to Celsius, you want the formula that is C equals. This next one here, we're converting Celsius to Fahrenheit. And since we're trying to solve for Fahrenheit, you want your Fahrenheit equals formula. And then in both cases, you just look up your formula at the top of your sheet. These are your two formulas. 1, 2. All right, that's converting Fahrenheit to Celsius in 10 minutes.